Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. Draft day is upon us again as team owners scramble to put together a winning fantasy football team. Our CBS Sports crew always keeping you plugged into the latest trends. Today we're talking about busts specifically from last year. These are the notable guys that a lot of people were high on last year and ended up just not panning out. You see C.J. Stroud's name on that list. He took a step back with a lackluster O-line. Tyreek Hill, people are still wondering when that offense is going to get going in South Florida. So we're going to tell you what not to do when you approach your fantasy draft this year. And to do so, we've got our Fantasy Football Today crew joining us. We've got Jamey Eisenberg and Dave Richard in studio with us. Guys, let's start with the quarterbacks. And Jamey, I'm going to come to you first. Who's the quarterback that you want folks at home to stay away from when they're drafting?
So, Haley, it's not really a stay away from. It's really more of a get at the right cost. And so when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I'm hoping that he's going to bounce back. I'm expecting that he's going to be better than he was the last couple of years when he's been under 21 fantasy points per game. But people are still drafting him as if he's that same guy that threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. He's getting drafted right at that 4 or 5 round mark, right around 50th overall. And so I'm just a little bit concerned that that's too high. You see the top 5 quarterbacks based on average draft position. That's basically what you're going to see from the top 5 quarterbacks in almost every draft, whatever order you're looking at. You know, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. Mahomes is kind of that bridge quarterback to the next group of Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, etc. But he should be closer to that group as opposed to closer to the top 5. So if you're drafting Mahomes, look for him at the earliest in round 6. Get him at a bargain. Don't reach for Patrick Mahomes. He's not that same guy.
Not that same guy. People are projecting the Chiefs to take a step back. I'll believe it when I see it. Let's talk about running backs next. And it's interesting, you know, we had Jamal Williams on the show earlier today giving us some good insight about players and guys and the running back position as a whole. So, Dave, I'll come to you first. Who are some guys, some running backs that we should maybe avoid or look a different way?
And along the same lines as what Jamey was talking about, these are running backs, they're just too rich for my blood. And DeAndre Swift is one of those guys that I'm really not excited about anyway, but the fact that his average draft position on CBSSports.com is now getting close to top 50 status, it makes it easier for me to stay away from him. A lot of situations going on in Chicago. The offensive line, huge question mark. Caleb Williams looked good in a preseason game against Bills backups. I can't say that offense is ready to take off. And yeah, it looks like DeAndre Swift is going to be the main back for Chicago. I don't buy it. I think there's going to be another running back that mixes in and takes a lot of short yardage touchdowns away from DeAndre Swift. So if you're drafting him as like the 23rd, 24th, 25th running back off the board, I guess that's okay, but I can find a slew of other players that I'd rather have in round 5. And another running back that I think is going to fall even farther than that is Aaron Jones with the Vikings. We know that he's an older running back. We know he's going to split time in Minnesota this year with Jordan Mason. Kind of like the value for Jordan Mason a lot better than the value for Aaron Jones, who last year, good year, 14 PPR points per game. DeAndre Swift wishes that he had that many points per game in any of his last 3 seasons. I think that number comes down, and I don't think Aaron Jones will be nearly as good. These are 2 running backs that I'm going to try and stay away from.
I like those 2 calls, not necessarily as much agreeing on DeAndre Swift, but I can certainly understand not drafting him in round 5 if you don't think he's going to be a superstar. These 2 guys have the chance to be superstars, Haley, but I'm not drafting them at their cost. I'm a little bit worried about Saquon Barkley. You showed the list that as we started the segment about Christian McCaffrey. There are a lot of similarities for McCaffrey and Barkley going into this year. 2023, McCaffrey was the best running back. He took the team to the Super Bowl in the 49ers. They didn't win, but he had a lot of work, over 400 total touches. Barkley won the Super Bowl last year, over 480 total touches, over 400 carries. He went for over 2,000 yards rushing. The last 8 running backs in NFL history to go for 2,000 yards rushing, they saw a decrease in production and rushing yards of over 550, and for 6 of the 8, over 800 yards rushing. So if we lose a lot of the rushing production, the tush push is still there. He's going to still lose those touchdown opportunities. 33 receptions. That actually may go up because Kellen Moore leaving might help Barkley in the passing game, which I think might be able to save him. But then you have the Madden cover curse. I'm almost out on Saquon Barkley in all cases in the first round. I just have not drafted him in about 30 drafts so far. I probably have another 30 drafts to go. I don't think I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. And I'm definitely not taking Breece Hall in round 3. I just don't understand. We already saw last year that he struggled down the stretch last season, battling through a knee injury, but struggling in the passing game. Now you have Justin Fields as the quarterback, and he just can't find anybody that he's connecting with, including Garrett Wilson. But all you're hearing is Braylon Allen and potentially Isaiah Davis getting work. I think Breece Hall will still be the best Jets running back. I'm getting close to I'd rather have DeAndre Swift than Breece Hall. I think there might be more upside with Swift just based on his opportunity with the Bears versus Breece Hall's opportunity with the Jets. It could be a really bad situation for Hall if Braylon Allen's as good as potentially advertised.
Certainly some question marks in that backfield for the Jets. You mentioned Garrett Wilson, though, Jamey, so I want to talk wide receivers next because I feel like it's a mixed bag, depends on the system and where they're playing. So give us some wide receivers to not think about when we're drafting.
Yeah, again, it's cost, but I'm also nervous about the situation, and that's Terry McLaurin. You know, still dealing with this hold-in, hold-out situation, not practicing with the team. You heard offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury say that it's about time that we get him on the field because we got to get going and start preparing for week 1. Last 2 years, we've had some holdout, obvious big-time name holdouts in Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, C.D. Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. Jamar Chase was great. He held in last year with the Bengals and had a career season. All those other names that I mentioned, their production tailed off and in some cases suffered some significant injuries. So Terry McLaurin, all the numbers last year for him were the same except for a huge spike in touchdowns. So the touchdowns come down. Now you have the risk of potential injury and missed practice time. I'm not touching Terry McLaurin round 4. The earliest I would take him is round 6. I would not be drafting him as a starter in 2 receiver leagues. And I think DJ Moore will still end up being the best Bears wide receiver, but this is going to be a very crowded receiving core. Rome Odunze is taking step forwards to become a more significant part of this offense. Luther Burden's eventually going to take a step forward and become the slot receiver and a go-to guy for Caleb Williams. We have yet to see the best of Colston Loveland, and I think DeAndre Swift, which is why I still like him a little bit, is going to be heavily involved in the passing game. So Moore, as a round 4 pick, I'm out. Another guy I'm probably not drafting until he falls to late round 5 or early round 6.
I was at Bears joint practice against Buffalo, and it was Odunze that was making plays down the field. And it's not like DJ Moore wasn't getting targets, but these were like really short targets. And I remember back to last year that DJ Moore was his average depth of target was something like 5.7 yards. So it's great that he's getting all these catches. He's just not doing a lot with it. And I think the volume comes down. I completely agree with Jamey on that call. 2 more wide receivers that you can find a little bit later on draft day, but you shouldn't take them. Other people should take them. Zay Flowers with Baltimore. I love the talent, Haley. I think he's awesome. But the Ravens don't throw a lot. In the last 2 years, we've seen Zay Flowers fall below 13 PPR points per game. It's been extremely rare when any Ravens wide receiver has had more than 14 PPR points per game when Lamar Jackson has been under center. Plus, they still have Mark Andrews. Plus, they added DeAndre Hopkins. Those guys are going to steal touchdowns away. And, oh, yeah, the biggest touchdown stealer of all is Derrick Henry. He's going to take a ton of them. So I'm not drafting Zay Flowers. And then on draft day, you guys are going to see the name Chris Godwin. And you're going to think to yourself, oh, I know he's not going to be ready to start the season. I'll just pick him up, and I'll just wait a little bit. Don't even do that, because I'm not even sure how good he'll be when he comes back. The last time he came back from a serious injury, he wasn't the same player. It took him more than a year to get going. His average draft position, it's round 8. That's too high. Emeka Egbuka is someone that I would take ahead of him, and Egbuka kind of in that round 5, 6 range for me. I really think he's going to end up being great. Take Egbuka, take Mike Evans. Don't take Chris Godwin. Let somebody else in your league take Chris Godwin.
Staying away from Chris Godwin. All right.
Never thought I'd say it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, a lot of people were so excited when they got him back in Tampa. Yeah, let's go to next. We're going to the tight ends next. I know Travis Kelce has been like a hot button topic in fantasy over the last few years because nobody knows if they should have them on their team or not. What do you think?
Taylor Swift has him on her team. That's as good as it's going to get for him and for everybody else. His average draft position, it goes into early round 6. I know we're used to this guy. We love this guy. He put up huge points for us. I don't see it happening. I think he should be taken like round 7, around 80th overall as a settle for type of tight end. But there's other players I certainly like better, including David Njoku, who I think is going like 2 rounds later than what the ADP is for Travis Kelce. I'd rather have Njoku. Laporta's in that same range as Kelce. I'd rather have Sam Laporta, and I'm getting close. I've been a big fan of Tyler Warren for a long time. I'm getting close to putting Tyler Warren ahead of Travis Kelce. It sounds crazy, but we're looking forward here. We're not looking back. I'm not going to get credit for all the fantasy points that Travis Kelce put up before. Kind of like what Jamey was saying about Patrick Mahomes. He's going too soon. If he falls to a point in the draft where it makes sense, okay, fine, take him. But otherwise, let someone else take the name.
I'm curious how many people in our fantasy league are going to have some kind of Taylor Swift-esque title for their team name this year.
They'll draft DeAndre Swift and Travis Kelce, and then they can make all those things.
Guys, we appreciate the time and the insight as always. You can get more from Jamey, Dave, and our entire Fantasy Football Today crew by scanning that QR code on your screen right now.